The people on the street are calling it the most groundbreaking document ever signed in Philadelphia. On Friday, July 3rd, the Philadelphia Flyers announced Leo Carlsson of the Anaheim Ducks signed a whopping $18 million a year offer sheet that has thrown a comically large wrench into the plans of the future Duck dynasty. We are on day 5 of awaiting Pat Verbeek's decision as he is stuck between a rock and 687 gold bars. Yes, I did the math. That's how many gold bars fit in $90 million. Meanwhile, we go to Western Pennsylvania as Kyle Dubas takes care of business on locking up Gino's Russian apprentice, as well as their projected starter in net next season. But something tells us they will not stay silent, as they hope of bringing in a once distant memory in Pittsburgh, the Robo Penguin. And that's where we will begin our second episode of the Keystone Hockey Podcast. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Steven, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm good. How are you doing?
We're doing all right. Leo Carlsson is plaguing my mind, but we're on day 5 of day 7. It feels like it's been 5 months instead of 5 days. Um, I haven't accomplished anything other than thinking about this, like, to be honest with you. In a way, I hate it because I this is the least productive I think I've been in a very long time. I'm not even like doing anything I usually enjoy. I'm not going outside. I'm not listening to music. All I'm doing is getting numbers on a 20-year-old Swedish man's contract, and it's ruining my life. But we'll start with you, Stephen, because the Penguins were not the only team in Pennsylvania making noise. Would you like to tell our great listeners what the Penguins have done over the past week?
The Penguins pretty much signed all their UFAs to contracts that I'm very pleased with. I would say Igor Chinakov was the main piece out of the remaining UFAs that we had, and they got the deal done for 3 years for 6.25. A very healthy number, I believe. 3 years definitely gives them enough time to not lock him up fully, and if it doesn't work out, if he was like a one-hit wonder, they could dump it pretty easily, I think. But I don't see him being that. I think he'll definitely pan out, doing pretty well, and then bringing Silas back in for 1 year at 2.8 is also a very good deal. I think also 1 year. So if we after this season we think it's time to move on from him, you can. Or if you want to trade him during the season, it's a 1 year deal. You could, you wouldn't have to give up too much, I think, to get rid of him or acquire assets for him. And then they still have Jason Robertson's brother. He's still UFA. They haven't come to a term on that. It's looking like that is going to arbitration, actually. So we'll see how that goes and what the term is on that. Still hoping that that works out in our favor of getting his brother, but we'll talk about that a little bit. And then I think they signed one other guy from Winnipeg, David Gustafson. He was 850K, I think, 1 year. So just an AHL depth signing that, helps with building Wilkes-Barre up. And then they signed Joel Bloomquist to a 2 year deal, 800, I think, 75K. So again, if 2 years is actually pretty nice, so I feel like this will be his window to show if he's going to stay around in Pittsburgh or it's time to move on from him. So other than that, there's a lot of rumors on who they could bring in. Jason Robertson's the main one that I keep hearing, and that's the one I would hope they would get. I would love to see Robo become a Penguin. I feel like it would fit really well. They keep bringing up Rust. Again, I don't think Rust is a piece that I would move to get Robertson. I know a lot of people would, but I don't think he's one that I would. Or Carter Kell, on the other hand, I see his name and part of it, and that one I would be fine with moving on. He's got the term, I think, 2 or 3 more years left at, I think, almost like 5. So it's not a bad contract at all, especially for what he is. And then he plays with Sid and Rust. So that's the top line. But obviously, if I could get Jason Robertson on the line with Sidney Crosby, I'd much rather have that than Ricardo Kell. The other name now that's been circulating the last couple of days is Elias Pettersson because they think it would be a fresh start, and I think he needs it. Pittsburgh would be an interesting one for me. I know they always talked about Brock Besser coming here, and that's just never happened. But now Pettersson's name being the new one, we'll see. Obviously, I would not be against Elias Pettersson, but again, it feels like the same thing. I wouldn't give up Russ to get him. I would be fine with moving on from Raquel to get him, and then or any other like they have the draft picks, they don't have to worry about them. So it really just be what pieces you would move to get a key piece like that is what you would really wait to see on what Kyle would do. That I imagine draft picks really aren't a thing that they're worried about moving on from.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned this last week. They're left with a lot of draft picks now. They have a lot of draft capital that it seems like, I mean, after this draft, I can't remember that much movement in a first round of a draft of just teams trying to get out of that draft because I guess the talent pool wasn't as promising as years past. Um, Anaheim moves McTavish for 2 picks. We'll talk plenty about Anaheim later. But a name I actually haven't thought about until you had mentioned Elias Pettersson thinking about Vancouver. I wonder if maybe bringing in Jake DeBrusk would be a decent move for the Penguins. He has voiced, I mean, he only played 1 season there. He has voiced he's like okay with moving on. It seems like everyone's okay with moving out of Vancouver, which I really don't blame them at all. Um, but it really seems like Robertson is the name that makes a lot of sense. Um, we saw he turned down 15 million a year in Seattle.
I don't
But
blame him, but
I, yeah, it's hard to blame him. It really is hard to blame him. But the fact is, if you get $15 million and you also get to play on a line with Sidney Crosby, that's about like 10 times better than the situation you're moving to in Seattle, and
that's just a fact. Yeah, you're not arguing that one.
it's just a fact. And it's probably obviously Robertson's an American player, but I mean he's our age pretty much. He's 26, 27, so he grew up in the era of Crosby as well as we did.
Hmm.
So I mean, the idea of like him playing with Sid is probably insanely enticing. It makes his game that much better.
Yeah, I mean, again, with his brother being here now, that also I know he wants to play with him apparently. So, I mean, here's the place to be, I guess, unless they don't get a deal. But I'm pretty sure with arbitration, you pretty much are guaranteed to have a deal in place. So I guess we'll just see what that is, and then they still have plenty of cap, not as much obviously, but I mean, with Mantha pretty much gone, it seems like he still hasn't signed anywhere yet. I think it's teams. The thing it's probably he wants term that teams aren't willing to give is what I would assume at this stage with his injury history and all that, which is probably another reason why we didn't bring him back because you never know, it could have been a one-off season, and you don't want to give him that term for him to play like the rest of them or have another injury to ruin this whole season again. But I mean, I think the cap space really shouldn't play into anything that they want to do either. So it's really just what they're willing to give up to get a star and either Pedersen or Robertson. It sounds like.
Now, like you mentioned, Jason Robertson's gone to arbitration as well as Nick Robertson in Pittsburgh. It seems like next year Dallas is comfortable with possibly leaving him as an unrestricted free agent. We could see a repeat of what happened with Marner in Toronto, which I don't think Dallas wants to go down that road whatsoever. I think if Jason Robertson's on his way out, they want to get whatever they can for him. And it's really going to come with a almost like a sign and trade. It feels like, um, or Pittsburgh just really blows their doors off with some kind of offer. I don't know if Dallas could afford losing Jason Robertson. Now they have Wyatt Johnson, who I think is just like just an elite goal scorer as well as Robertson. Um, the foundation I guess is still going to be there, but their cap space is being eaten up like every offseason. Um, I don't know. I get you said Raquel was the name you were comfortable with parting with.
Hmm.
Uh, I guess I mean if it would take if I were in this position, I'd give up anything to get Jason Robertson. He's unbelievable. But if a name like McGroarty or even a name like Morishov, like one of your top prospects, would you be comfortable moving on with any of those names? to bring in Robertson?
Um, at this point, Mershov, I would not. Mershov, I think, is the goalie of the future, and I think they realize that too. So I don't think he's one of them that you would include in that. Because we still don't really truly know who is the starter on this team. I mean, it seems like it's Silas now that Skinner's gone. And they haven't signed anybody else. They haven't brought in anybody in free agency, so it's looking like it'll be Silas and then potentially either Bloomquist or Mershov. And I think it's more so going to be Mershov, I would imagine. Um, but then I don't know what Dallas is looking for. I don't know if they are looking for assets to keep staying relevant, and I'd imagine they would. So I don't know if they would really want a player like McGordy or whatnot. I could see Vancouver wanting younger, up and coming stars, but Dallas, I feel like they're more of a right now type of team, and the only guys that I could think realistically that they'd be comfortable moving on from would be Rust or Raquel. I don't know defense wise who they would want at this point. They're not going to get Carlson. They're not going to get Letang. And now Shea's gone, so the defense other than that is kind of completely shifted around. They could take Ryan Graves. I would love them to take Ryan Graves. They can have him for all I care. Um, but I don't know. I feel like it's draft picks, and then if need be, a star like McGordy or I don't see them moving on from Ben Kindle. I don't see him getting traded, but
No, I can't see that either.
maybe like Owen Pickering on defense, or Brunicki maybe. But I feel like with Dallas, they want more of a right now type of player. If it's Pedersen, then then you could probably throw in more prospects into that. I feel like.
Yeah, I guess as it stands right now, I mean, I guess to go back to Chinikov, I think 3 million, 6.2, 6.3 annual. It's a solid bridge deal. I think. I mean, we mentioned this last week, and we're just gonna repeat. It's the summer. There's no season. There's no game on the ice right now. We're gonna be repeating stuff nonstop because you just have to deal with it. Um, but uh, yeah, I mean, no one really expected a bounce back after Columbus sends him here. Uh, he's gonna have another season with Malkin. Do you think he takes another step of progression? Um,
Uh, I think he will. I don't know what his ceiling truly is. I mean, if he's health is always the number one thing with anybody. If he stays healthy and Malkin, I think if Malkin stays healthy is the bigger factor in it, realistically, because Gino's always getting hurt. That's just the way it is now. Um, but I feel like if him and if I'd imagine he would be playing with Kuzmenko, I imagine they would want the three Russians on the same line together at least to start, and then if it doesn't work out, then we'll see what the lines look out. Because I know at the end of the season they had Chinikov moved to Crosby's line, and they were clicking pretty well going into the playoffs right before, and then playoffs started, and they switched up the lines. So I don't know where they'll put Chinikov. I'd imagine at the start he'll be with Gino and Kuzmenko. So if that line clicks, I feel like there is more game, and then I feel like Kuzmenko could finally break out also. And like I think that's really what they're hoping for is that those two guys really take another step to help make this team better. Seeing they lost so much with this free agency, I don't truly feel like they've replaced enough yet. Now, I mean, if they go make one of those trades, then it's a completely different story.
yeah, I wish anything if Chinikov had some kind of nickname with a B in it, then it would be the KGB line with
Yeah,
Kuzmenko, Gino,
yeah, it would.
all three Russians. Damn, we were right there. We were right there for maybe the greatest nickname line nickname since the HBK line.
Yeah, right.
That's all
Uh,
time.
Glory days. Wearing the
As
Kessel shirt right now.
There you go. I mean, as both of us are wrestling guys, I mean you had the Shawn Michaels plug
Yeah,
during the
yeah.
championship
Sean
run. He
being
came
in
in.
house. I forget which series it was. It might have been. I think it was against. Well, I feel like it was later on. I remember Sean being there at one point, and I was like, "What is this anymore?" Like my two loves are combined, and they ended up winning it all with Sean. It was just it's something.
when Triple H came out with Embiid because Embiid kept
Yeah.
doing the DX stuff.
Hmm.
That man, what a time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
DX
other?
loves Philly or
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, I guess, more than we think.
Yeah. Generation X is a Pennsylvania tag team. Um, any other thoughts on Pittsburgh? Anything you thought was significant?
No, I mean it's really just waiting to see what Robertson's arbitration will turn out to be, and if they have a move in place for one of the stars. I mean, you never know with this offseason. I mean, literally, you'd wake up and then the next thing, the guy that you thought you had is now in a completely different part of the world and for a completely different price than you were hearing. So, kind of just take it day by day, and we'll see. Penguins definitely have a lot of shoes to fulfill compared to across the state. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's. I think we joked last week. It's like we're the only people who would start a hockey podcast in the middle of the summer where like nothing's going to be happening, and somehow, some way, by some miracle, uh, one of our teams happens to just break the league. Um, uh, like this is one of those rare occasions where I mean, like the Flyers have not really been a headline in a positive way. I mean, probably since the last offer sheet they went after it was like Shea Weber, like 14 years ago, and they couldn't wait. Uh, you mentioned last week that it was the anniversary of Shea Weber's contract, and it was the final year, and it's off the books finally for Nashville or whoever was paying. Who was paying his contract at the end there?
Think I know Montreal had it, but I think they ended up ship. I think San Jose. I think it
San
ended up
Jose.
there.
San Jose is like the 2020s, like Arizona. How Arizona had
Yeah,
like Datsyuk,
yeah, Marion
Pronger,
Hossa.
Mariota. There's like
I think they
a
had Briz
2000s
too.
All-Star team. They did have Briz, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think Briz actually played some games there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think a little bit.
Yeah, but it's rare this kind of thing happens. And I mean, it's all I've been thinking about. It happened Friday. Thank God I was on my lunch break because I probably would have collapsed on the floor if I if I got the Elliot Friedman notification and I was not sitting down. I think I texted you right away, like, oh my, like, what is happening? Um, so let's just get to it. Flyers, as I mentioned before, Danny Briere going out, going for the offer sheet that has. I mean, we talked about it last week. The only name I was comfortable going with after an offer sheet was Leo Carlsson. That's exactly who they ended up picking out. 18 million is an absurd number for 5 years, 90 million in total he's owed. But that's kind of by design. Like I kept seeing people are like, oh, this is such an overpay. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. Like the whole point is like you have to make it so difficult for Anaheim to match it. Um, and honestly, with the way some of these contracts are going to be built, I mean, the cap is going to keep raising. I haven't thought about this. I mean, roughly in my head, like uh, the cap is going to be increasing $9 million every year. So in 2 years, basically, they're going to have the space cut out for an $18 million cap hit on Carlson, anyways. So you're really not taking much of a gap. But um, yeah, I was stunned when it came out. Pat Verbeek most likely is more stunned than I was. He was basically making it known. He had bulletin boards everywhere saying they were going to match whatever offer was going to come their way, and I believed him. I still believe him. We'll get into. I'll kind of end this thought of like my percentage on like if Anaheim's going to match the offer sheet and if he's actually going to be a Flyer. The idea of Leo Carlsson being a Flyer is so crazy to me. But let's just talk about how we got here. Um, Elliot Friedman, in his 32 Thoughts podcast, spoke about the final meeting that Leo Carlsson's representatives, Leo himself, and Pat Verbeek had. Basically, the final contract discussion for negotiations that they had. Now, this offer sheet had been received by Carlson and Carlson's agents from the Flyers. There were reportedly 3 other teams that had sent in an offer sheet. One of the numbers that was rumored was 17.5, which made me believe probably the Flyers were the last team that put an offer out there. And especially with how this contract is structured, I really think like Flyers took their time. This was clearly something that was orchestrated for maybe months now. Verbeek really, really has himself in a pickle here, and his final offer to Leo Carlsson was $12.5 million. There was no term along with that number, so as Elliot Friedman mentioned, it was between 12 and 13 million. And Carlson's agent, knowing that the $18 million number was out there, said, "Hey, we think we're worth 15 million. That's our final number. If you can't meet us there, we're gonna look elsewhere." I really don't think Verbeek expected $18 million to be out there, and if he did, he wouldn't be making these terrible moves that I've listed. Because like pretty much week by week, you could kind of see, kind of in a way, Verbeek did not expect this at all. This was dumbfounding, which is crazy to think that someone who is a GM of the Year finalist. I think did he finish second place, Steven? He was second or third.
I'm not sure. I assume third. I honestly don't remember the race for.
So
I honestly
Guerin
can't
won
remember
it.
who won it.
So Bill Guerin won it because he got Quinn Hughes.
Okay, yeah.
And because of Team USA. But I mean, Pat Verbeek, known to be a horrible negotiator. I shouldn't say horrible. He's a penny pincher. He's horrible to the players. There's a reason why so many disgruntled guys have left Anaheim in the past 2 or 3 seasons. We just saw McTavish shipped out. Zegers is here. He does the whole hang up the phone celly when he scores against Anaheim. Yeah, yeah. Like it's just he's known to be a tough negotiator. And I just want to read some of these moves that happened in the coming weeks, just to show you he did not expect this whatsoever. So we get a Radko Gudas for AJ Greer 1-for-1 trade, where Radko Gudas extends with the Florida Panthers, and then AJ Greer gets signed to a 4-year, $4.25 million contract. So there's going to be a theme with some of these moves, listing how decimated this Anaheim defense is going to be. A defense that was just bad to begin with last year, before they acquired John Carlson, still was like bottom half of the league, even when they got John Carlson. But I mean, there couldn't be a more misguided. I don't know if there's a contract that aged so poorly, and not to really Greer's like detriment. It's just like you have no defense now, and he just locked up $4.25 million, to where we'll get into it. They still got another player now. Yeah, that was the next move. Trouba walks. They were never, no universe they were going to pay Jacob Trouba the number he received. They're not going to pay $8.5 million a year.
I don't know why the Sharks did either, but
we still don't know. We're still scratching our head. Obviously, John Carlson walks. That was another name they were not going to match. That was another $8.5 million, just like Trouba's number, but with the taxes in Florida, Tampa gave him 8.5. He's going to be receiving more than Trouba because California taxes compared to Florida taxes, very, very large, very, very large difference between those numbers. And the one that actually I was kind of stuck on for a while was they traded Olin Zellweger to Buffalo for a second-round pick in the draft that just happened a couple weeks ago, and another forward prospect coming back. Zellweger then goes on to sign a 3-year, $3.3 million contract with Buffalo, and that doesn't make sense because Zellweger was one of their best skaters on the blue line, period, and not being able to keep the guy, or not even just willing to pay him $3.3 million for 3 years with the contracts that we have seen given out to some of these names. I have no idea why that number just did not work for them. It looks like an amazing move by Buffalo. And that $3.3 million number was what they were expecting to give to Pavel Mintyukov. And that was the next development. We were waiting on these RFAs to get signed. Leo Carlsson, obviously the largest one. We're going to get into Cutter. Cutter is a big part of this. I don't like talking about Cutter, but we're going to have to. Because he's a large piece in all of this, to be honest, because he still hasn't gotten paid. But Pavel Mintyukov, there's a rumor that an offer sheet is coming in, and then 20 minutes later, Elliot Friedman comes in and says he receives, I have the number here, a 5-year, $7.2 million extension. And the initial wish was Verbeek wanted to pay him the number that Olen Zellweger received in Buffalo, which was a 3-year, $3.3 million number that he ended up having to pay over double for because he just sat on his hands. It was a tough negotiator. Like, it makes no sense. It makes zero sense. That's not how business is like constructed. And Mintyukov and Zellweger are kind of the same tier of defensemen. Like, we saw Nemec get the same number in Calgary after New Jersey traded him. Nemec and Mintyukov are kind of viewed as being like the same level of player. So I guess the number isn't that crazy. But you could have saved $4 million and you could have kept Zellweger. If you wanted to pay him the same price, you could have saved $1 million if you had one extra defenseman. Which is crazy, which is absolutely insane. So that leads us now to where if Verbeek says, hey, we're going to match the offer, we can't afford to lose Leo Carlsson in this rebuild. They now have $9 million of cap space to sign Cutter Gauthier. And with how we know Cutter Gauthier likes to conduct business, Philadelphia received this like on the hard end because he didn't receive a year of an entry-level contract, and that's why he wanted out of Philadelphia to begin with. We know he's not going to take any kind of cut just to help out Anaheim. He's not going to do any favors for Pat Verbeek. We've seen what kind of player he is. We've seen this, and I don't blame him for wanting his money. He scored 41 goals. He led the team in points. He's probably thinking to himself, I deserve more than Leo Carlsson in some ways. But because Leo Carlsson is a center, that's the most premium position in the sport, Leo Carlsson's going to attract more money. So now we just wait and see. Now, there are a lot of ways that the Ducks and Verbeek can get out of this, I think, and this is what leads me to believing that the Ducks are end up just going to matching the offer sheet, and Leo Carlsson's going to be staying in Anaheim. So they have Alex Killorn on a $6.25 million contract that expires after this season. And they have Chris Kreider on a $6.5 million contract that also expires next season. There is going to be a team out there that has enough cap space. Now, both guys, Killorn's 36, Kreider is 35, respectively. There's going to be a team out there that takes one of these players for that kind of contract. I've actually thought in my head that Pittsburgh is going to be one of those teams just to absolutely screw over the Flyers.
I hope not. I hope not.
But like at the same time, who knows how much game either guy has left? But 6.5 is a kind of a big number right now. But in a year, it's off the books. You know what I mean? So that's what leads me to believe that Pat Verbeek's going to find a way out of this. You might have to attach draft picks just to get these contracts off your books. Anaheim might have to package a second rounder, a third rounder with one of these players. I don't think a first is coming off the books, but it's certainly a possibility at this point. And I think the thing that isn't being talked about enough is if once they get out of this and Cutter Gauthier, let's say he receives $15-16 million, and that would eat up their cap completely. Even if they move Kreider, they would be at exactly like the cap hit if they sign this $18 million offer sheet. They still have to pay Bennett Seneca next year. Bennett Seneca is a restricted free agent after the season, and he was a Calder finalist. The kid looks like he's an awesome player. Who knows how much you got to pay him? So this leads me to believing, I texted you this last night, I don't think Verbeek's going to be employed by the Anaheim Ducks after the season.
Nah, he digged himself a hole, and I don't know if he can get himself out of this one.
He dug himself a grave, is what he did. I mean, it's kind of it's karmatic justice in a way because he grinded down so many of these players. It wouldn't surprise me if say McTavish has a decent season with the St. Louis Blues. It would not surprise me if he kind of does a similar celebration to Zegras. Let it be known, like, hey, we hated playing for you. You grinded us down. You cost us a couple million. You didn't want to take care of us. And I think that's also another part of this in Danny Briere's mind is, look, you want to be known as a team that takes care of your guys. Like Nick Delorier, as silly as it is, when Nick Delorier gets traded to Carolina and Carolina wins a cup, like that means something to guys. Garnet Hathaway gets traded to Florida. Florida is much more going to be much more inclined and like prepared to go chase a Stanley Cup. They're coming off of a back-to-back from only last year. They're going to be closer to a cup than the Flyers are this year. So they trade Garnet Hathaway there. There is something to be said about like helping these guys out, and there's a reason why Zegras and Drysdale are say yes to arbitration. There hasn't been a deal done because I think even if it costs them a couple million, they're willing to help out their team if it means bringing in Leo Carlsson, who is you can maybe only find 4 or 5 guys that are going to have a better future at a 1C than Leo Carlsson. He was the 2nd overall draft pick in his class, right behind Bedard. He only played 70 games. He finished with 67 points. And he has, you hear Sasha Barkov comparisons to this guy. You're going to pay 18 million. I don't care how high you think that number is. Especially, I have a serious feeling that we're going to be seeing some absurd numbers coming in the next year or two. Sure. Macklin Celebrini probably going to get the first 20 million a year contracts in San Jose.
It's not him, it's Makar.
Yeah, I mean, we're about to see a serious shift in the league, and of all the teams to usher it in, it's the Philadelphia Flyers, which is hard to believe. Listen, they're getting their noses dirty. I love it. I love this from Briere and company. I think there is a 95% chance that he stays in Anaheim and Verbeek matches this number. The 5%, the small like sliver of hope I have, is that these negotiations soured the relationship between Karlsson and the Ducks so bad that he doesn't just want to play for Anaheim anymore, which would probably result in a sign or so they would have to decline an offer sheet. If you match an offer sheet, you can't trade that player for a year. He's on your books after a year if you match the offer sheet. So what would have to happen was they decline this offer sheet, and then there's some kind of side deal worked out. Maybe they want Tippett. Maybe they want Mishkov. We'll see what happens. But man, as fun as this week has been, and it's dwindling down, and a decision is not going to be reached till Friday because they want to wait this out as long as possible. Yeah, it just feels like he's going to stay with the Ducks. He's far too important. He's the cornerstone of that franchise. I understand Gauthier is the goal scorer of that team, but the team kind of revolves around Leo Carlsson. And if you don't have him on your team, say you get 4 first-rounders, none of those first-rounders are going to turn into Leo Carlsson. Just what it is.
Unless you turn 4 first-rounders into Dylan Larkin.
Yeah, and I mean, he's still playing Dylan Larkin, still playing hardball with Detroit. It's very interesting to see Yzerman and Verbeek, who I feel like are kind of in the exact same position where they're kind of old-time GMs. They're old-timers a little bit, and we're ready for this kind of new generation where these players are going to demand what they're worth. It's very similar to where we see the NBA. The numbers will not mirror the NBA because Leo Carlsson is going to be the highest paid player in the NHL history. no matter if Anaheim matches it or doesn't, he's going to be paying $18 million, whether it's with the Ducks or the Flyers. I think Donovan Mitchell maybe signed like a $67 million a year contract the other day.
Oh man.
And no disrespect to who they call the Spider. He's not he's not a top 5 player in the league. Neither is Leo Carlsson, by the way. But the whole thing is it's all about his potential. The Flyers really believe he could be a 90-point guy, and he would honestly, if they brought him in, we're so excited about Martone, obviously, but Leo Carlsson would initially be the face of the franchise because he has that premium center position. He's only 21 years old. It would be an absolute dream to have him on the Flyers, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. Unfortunately for me. Fortunately for you, though.
No, that's all right. We'll be getting Connor Bednar because of you.
Yeah, and perfect segue. Going to be out 4 months. We received the news just hours before recording. He underwent successful shoulder surgery, and he's going to be out till mid-November. And people forget we got an 84-game season coming up.
I forgot.
Yeah, there's going to be an 84-game season next year, so the season's going to start in late September. We're not going to have a first or second week of October start that we usually have. So he might be missing 10 to 15 games, which is I don't even know if Chicago can afford that right now.
No.
It seems like they're one step forward, 2 steps back with this rebuild. I think Kyle Davidson might have his hands full because they really haven't brought any huge names in. They just gave Bowen Byram an absurd number.
They just made him the highest paid defenseman to miss his star forward.
Like who knows what's going to happen with that? And like, I'm sure. I don't know how nasty, the negotiation will go with Bedard and Chicago, but I'm sure injury history is probably a way that Kyle Davidson could save some money on the books of Chicago. I mean, this is like his 3rd big injury. I mean, he had the jaw injury that was pretty devastating. He just hasn't been able to find a rhythm. I feel for him because I think he's a superstar. Granted, I was looking at his numbers today. His plus minus is actually like in the negative 90s.
That's playing in Chicago.
That's
Current
true.
day Chicago. We're not, who's he playing with? Tyler Bertuzzi and who?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, Frundell's going to be good. I mean,
You got
Frundell's going to be
Nazar
awesome.
coming up.
Yeah, Nazar, but like they haven't brought in anybody to help this guy out whatsoever.
No.
He's just kind of on an island right now. And which is why, like, when Bedard said, like, what was the quote? He said, like, anything could happen. We'll see where it goes. Basically, just leaving the door open to any kind of possibility of an offer sheet. Even though I think he's going to be a Blackhawk for a while.
Yeah, he's not coming to Pittsburgh. As much as that would be a wet dream, it's not happening. That's what's gonna stay. So
if your team went from Crosby to Connor Bedard,
yeah, it'd be something. But I'm not. I saw that and I chuckled. I can't see it being a reality. As fun as that sounds, and got a jab at you guys. And I mean, hey, if you're gonna offer sheet somebody $20 million, I'd give it to him. But again, those injuries, you never know. So if I'm a Penguins fan, I would not be holding my breath on Connor Bednar coming from an offer sheet. Just move on.
yeah, I don't think it's happening. But where there's smoke, there's fire. Who
Yeah,
knows? I think your primary. I
it
think
should be
Robertson
Jason
should be.
Robertson.
Yeah, I think Jason Robertson and I mean you're a huge Dallas guy
Yeah,
already. You already love Jason Robertson. I think that's
Yeah, I mean, it's more or less seeming like it's happening. Um, the more time goes on. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I have way more hopes on becoming a reality than any Connor Bednar offer sheet.
yeah, I agree. And speaking of reality, the reality is Claude Giroux will not be a Philadelphia Flyer this year. Um, Basically, the whirlwind of the whirlwind of that Leo Carlsson offer sheet notification, and then I believe it's Dave Pagnotta. It's more like Dave Pinata because people are out on the streets of Philadelphia with broomsticks looking for this guy. Um, he he had a tweet come out said looks like Claude Giroux is coming to Philadelphia, and I mean, I lost my mind. I didn't think there could have been like a better like 1-2 combination of breaking news stories, like like a Mount Rushmore like Flyer like coming back and like ending his career, and also like a future superstar like also possibly coming here. And it turns out the Flyers probably got to get neither of those guys, which is
That's
horrible.
very Philadelphia, though. That's the most
It
Philadelphia
is.
thing you could ask for.
It is. At least like Flyers. I do find it very interesting though. I want to keep it primarily hockey, but the aggressiveness. I do think like how Howie Roseman conducts business for the Eagles actually has inspired, in a way, the aggressiveness that we see from Danny Briere. And obviously, this is
Definitely not the Phillies.
definitely not the Philly. Well, I mean, Dombrowski gave it a shot for a couple seasons, but I do actually think, for compensation, once Anaheim matches the offer sheet for Leo Carlsson, I think just for compensation, they should just send Mike Trout here.
Yeah, I'm
Just to
not
call it
against
even. Just call it even. He will be in town. He's coming home for
for the All
the
Star.
All-Star game. Uh, hopefully hopefully they just lock him in the hotel room. Just like, yeah, you're playing for the Phillies now. All right. We got to get back to hockey. So,
Yeah, no, they're probably confused why I'm cheering for the Phillies.
yeah, there are all kinds of question marks popping off for people who don't know us personally. But hey, we got to keep the audience on our toes, as Connor McDavid once said. Um, yeah, Giroux staying in Ottawa. I really think it was a decision of like that's his home. He's close to his family. Although Philadelphia was his home for a very long time, he's an Eastern Ontario boy by heart, and I think that's where he's comfortable raising his family and staying put there. I'm ultimately okay with the decision. It would have been fantastic to see like a reunion tour, basically a farewell tour, much like Ovi's, which is coming up, which we'll talk about briefly pretty soon. Um, I'm so like hot and cold on farewell tours. I'm a sucker, so like some of them okay with. There have been ones that have gone well, like in other sports. Like I mean, I went to the Dwayne Wade farewell tour when I made the stop when they were playing the Sixers. Um, we're gonna be seeing the the LeBron farewell tour. That's gonna be the most
Yeah, we might
insufferable
have that
thing.
all season long, actually.
The Xfinity Mobile Arena might be home to LeBron James of all people. LeBron James and
And
Razis
Leo Carl.
Ristolainen. Yeah. um, what a strange time to be alive. I think that if this teaches me anything, it's probably just stay off my phone, because it's really fried my brain. This past week has just really fried my brain with this news, and something that's really probably not going to come into fruition. But hey, this is what we have most recently signed up to do. This is, it's fun. It's impossible, but it's fun. Um, Man, it is. It's just I've gone on such a huge tangent, but the best part about this is, even if we don't land Leo Carlsson, which is most likely going to be what happens, This is a move that Ed Snyder would have absolutely loved if he were still with us. This is just the Flyers saying like, "Hey, we're for real. If we like a player, we're going to do whatever it takes to get him." Um, it's why we loved Paul Holmgren before he went and traded for Andrew McDonald and brought in absolutely terrible players on defense that had us stuck for
Shout
years.
out Mark Streit,
Mark Streit. Oh my
Stanley Cup champion, Pittsburgh Penguin Mark Streit.
god. Oh my god. Like every time I hear those names, like a part of me dies. It's like it's like the opposite of nostalgia, where I was like 15 or 16, but it's just horrendous to think about. It's like a nightmare. It's like I have a Andrew McDonald sleep paralysis demon that I deal with like every single time I think about hockey. Um, but it's nice that they're getting back to the actual identity of the Flyers, where the past decade, the identity of the Flyers was kind of this thing where we claimed that, listen, we got to be a real gritty team on ice. We got to push people around. We got to be the bullies. But you had to match that on ice presence with a front office presence that was really going out and being aggressive. And this is exactly what it is. This is, you know, it's the Flyers are a bit of a good old boys club. They bring in Patrick Sharp, Keith Jones, Rick Tocchet, of course, Danny Briere being the face of all of it. But I have some optimism that we see that this is what actually the identity of the Flyers actually is. It's going out, as crazy as it may sound, ruffle some feathers. In this case, literal feathers, because it is a duck. Um, just get a guy back that could really help your franchise. And it was a ride. It was a ride. We'll see what happens. We're in a different world now because of the Philadelphia Flyers, and that brings a smile to my face. Um, guess our closing thought, we got to talk Ovi a little bit. Steven's favorite player.
Yeah, my favorite. Nah, he's grown on me. He's more like he's one of those guys you being a Penguins fan, as much as I hate him, you have to respect him. Like you just have to. You can't. If you just have pure hatred for him, I don't know what to tell you. You gotta have the respect for him. You just do. The way he played the game, the way he built the game. Without him and Crosby, the game is not where it is today. The league is not where it is today. Without without Ovechkin, I don't think Crosby, as great as he is, I don't think he would have elevated his game as much as he did because he had Ovi to, battle his entire career. And to this day, they still have the best rivalry in the National Hockey League at 40 years old. They're still the face of the league, if you ask me. Like, when they're gone, you can look at Austin Matthews, Connor McDavid, McKinnon, sure, but like current day, I would still, I guess we're old now. Put Ovechkin, Crosby at then at the top, and then I don't know. I guess if this is Ovechkin's last year, Sid's contract's up, Letang's contract's up, and now Malkin's contract's up. Is it the farewell tour for everybody now? I don't know. I mean, there's this season has got a lot to look forward to. I don't know. I guess even I would like to see Ovechkin play one game before it's all said and done, just to say I could say I've seen him. I know it's definitely not what the electric, 60 goal scorer of he is, but I'll take the 40-year-old 40 goal scorer. So, but no, I mean, it'll suck. The league will not be the same. It just can't be. You're losing the greatest goal scorer of all time, which is insane that he has that, and you can't argue that because it's in the history books. So, it'll be weird watching the Capitals after this season coming up with no Ovechkin. It's just gonna look like the Kings with no Kopitar. There's just a lot of franchises are gonna look a little different than what you're used to.
Yeah, and it might there might not even be like franchise guys, even if I mean, McDavid's considered a franchise guy, but he's been, 10 years is like 10 years might be 20 years for this
Current
next
day,
generation, your
it
current
seems
day.
like it.
With the way the salary cap is structured, with you know the the annual value that a lot of these contracts are gonna have. I mean, we might not have this again, realistically. I mean, and a big part of hockey is loyalty, being a team, being loyal to your team. Um, but we see a wave of guys who want to make sure their money's right, which they need to make every dollar. They deserve it. The players are the league. It's not the logo. I know we've been kind of taught as hockey fans, like, hey, it's all about the crest. But I want these guys to like make their money. They're putting their bodies on the line. We're gonna be seeing players play 84 games a year, which is absurd. The workload that's gonna be. I mean, like,
Just give
uh,
them load management.
yeah, yeah, we could get NHL management, which I'm sure a lot of people absolutely love and have no issues with and no thoughts on whatsoever. Um, but it, I mean, this last run of Ovi, we don't know if it's his last year, to be honest. It is a 1-year contract. I do think I just like want to know your opinion because we see your big three, like the foundation of the 2000s Penguins, like their careers are winding down. Do you think all three of them leave at the same time? Do you think maybe Crosby sticks around longer than those guys?
In a perfect world, they all leave together. Um, out of the three, Sid's the one that has the most game left, for sure. History wise, like injury wise, Letang. I don't even know how Letang is even functioning as a human being with
No,
some
for
of the
real.
stuff he's gone through, let alone playing hockey every day. Malkin, I mean, he gets injured all the time too at his age now, but I mean, they're all still have game. I out of the three, Sid definitely could go longest. I mean, they've asked him in interviews, and he's joked like at least 45, even 50 potentially. And I mean, if anybody's going to do it, it would be Sidney Crosby. I mean, the man. I'm going to glaze him a little bit. I don't do it enough, honestly. Um,
Oh, no, 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 no! Don't lie, dude. Don't lie to
no,
us.
no. If anybody, I don't. You should know. I don't. As much as I could have throughout all
Yeah,
time, I don't. I've been humble, but no. I mean, he out of everybody left in the league, I don't think anybody has the work ethic. I mean, everybody says like the dude's physique is unmatched. Like it's insane. Like I don't know. I mean, but then you got Ovechkin, same age, and he's drinking soda and all that. So I don't know. But I mean, in a perfect world, the three go together. But I feel like this realistically will be Malkin's last season. And Letang, I don't know. Carlson, I don't consider um main piece still. Like he's been here for a couple of years now, but uh I don't know where his game lies anymore. I forget how old he is. I mean, he's getting up there. He's not.
he's probably like
He's
36 at this
30.
point, right?
Yeah.
37,
So
maybe.
he's he's getting there. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, he got his game back last year, so. I don't know. I mean, I guess it really depends on if you have the players around you that can keep supporting you as much as you can support them. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I've been saying it the last like 2 years. I think it was. I've been just kind of like, all right. I think I've been accepting like this could be the year that it's over, and we're about to have a completely brand new look of this franchise. Because I mean, since I've watched hockey. It's been Crosby, Letang, and Malkin. So once they're gone, I mean, it's gonna feel weird. That I honestly, it'll probably feel low key soulless. Um, just because It's been 20. I mean, there's no trio in North American sports history has been together this long, and
Wow.
to have a whole nother year of it to make it 22 straight seasons of the same trio. I mean, I'm 27. There's been 5 years on this earth that those three haven't been playing hockey together. Like
It's insane.
that's insane to me. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, regardless of the outcome of this season, I get to say I got to at least enjoy one more ride with the trio, and I get to watch him play Ovechkin as much as he grinds my gears. Um, it'll be definitely be a shame when he's gone, and I'll miss him.
Yeah, I don't have like that pure hatred that you do because they really. I mean, if I remember correctly, the Flyers have only met the Capitals and Ovi only once or twice in the playoffs, and it felt like with Pittsburgh, it was like every single year they were meeting in the playoffs.
Every cup that Crosby and Ovechkin have, they have all come from beating each other. All four. The three the Penguins won in the Crosby era, they had to beat the Capitals to get to it, and when the Capitals won, they beat the Penguins to get to it. So they're linked
Yeah,
forever in time.
I put on our Twitter. Follow our Twitter, by the way, at KSH. I just had a stroke. KSH podcast on Twitter. Don't type it like me. You're gonna spend a lot of time searching for it. But I had a picture of like Charles Xavier and Magneto and said, "This is Crosby and Ovechkin in a nutshell." Where like we're seeing quite literally seeing the on-screen portrayal of Xavier and Magneto when they're both nearing 90 years old, and it certainly feels like that's the same exact thing that's happening with Crosby and Ovechkin. Um, I still think like Crosby's going to play another 5 seasons. I'm just not holding my breath for him to like end anytime soon. But um, listen, we're probably going to be suckers, pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to watch a video package to uh, to watch an Alexander Ovechkin video package. But there's going to be some must see games this year. Between that and no matter what happens with Leo Carlsson, the Anaheim Philadelphia game, that's going to be absolutely bonkers. As crazy as it was last year, that felt like the Super Bowl or like the like an Eastern Conference Final, like game 1 or 2. With the way that game felt, with Gauthier visiting and then Zegras' first game playing him, it's just going to be that much more intense after this. Verbeek is probably going to orchestrate some kind of hit on a player on the ice. It's going to be crazy. That's one I'm going to probably have to buy a ticket for, as well as OV. OV going. We got 2 OV tour dates. Our schedule releases, I believe, on the July 17th. So we'll see it. We'll see it. And right now, it's about the time we wait over and over. It's just the summer of waiting. There's going to be a lot of waiting going on. Luckily, we only got 48 more hours of waiting to find out what happens to Leo Carlsson. I'm preparing myself for bad news because the bad news is just the real news. Let's be honest.
Not on this side of the state, but
Yeah. I had a joke somewhere. We were talking about sheets all day, and we had nothing to do with Western Pennsylvania and convenience stores. But
yeah, I don't like them either. So Yins are gonna come at me. Yins can
dude,
do it all you want. Wawa's better. I don't care.
yo, this is we're alienating our viewers already. We're in episode 2, Steven. We're alienating our viewers.
Look. All right, so they got to know the ground rules. We are both from outside of Philly. I am a Penguins fan, but that's about it for Pittsburgh. I hate to break it to y'all.
Sorry, he's not a big Kenny Pickett guy. Well, he's not
Nah,
even in Pittsburgh. He was more recently on the Eagles than than the Steelers. But Aaron Rodgers, I don't think Steven's a big Aaron Rodgers guy.
Nah, I'll smoke a J with him. You know, why not?
He seems like a he pick you up on that. We're getting off the
You
rails a
just
little bit.
don't let him run with a flag.
Yeah. All right, we're getting off the rails. I think this is a good way to wrap it up. I just want to send a quick message of support to our friends, family, coworkers, whoever tuned in to our first episode. We're sitting at 95 views and 18 likes, I think, on our first episode, which we greatly appreciate. We did this with pretty much on a whim. We didn't promote the show until literally the first episode came out. So just want to thank everybody for spending some time with us. A lot of people who like don't even follow hockey just want to support us. We really appreciate that. And if you just happen to come across us, we're just two strangers to you guys, and if you're listening, we appreciate you just as much. I mean, that means a lot to us, and we're going to continue growing the show the best we can. It's only up from here. We're going to try to keep a consistent schedule the best we can. And we know this is a dry period in hockey news. Well, as it should be, but this seems like the most bonkers offseason we've maybe ever had. But we're going to stay with you till games come around, and then we're going to have a lot more to talk about because we're actually going to have a product on ice. But we appreciate you spending some time with us. Subscribe, like, follow our Twitter. Is our Instagram up yet,
No, not
Steven?
yet, but our Instagram's coming.
Our Instagram's coming. Uh, you know, we wanted to express our gratitude to everyone who's joined us, spent some time with us. You have any final message to everybody, Steven?
Well, the more we grow, our cast and crew's grown. So we got this guy here. We're gonna have to come up with a name for him at some point. So if you have any name suggestion for our friend here, drop them down below in the comments.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I don't know if I'm going to have, there's no, you can't really have a puppet or a stuffed animal of a flyer unless it's
Now
gritty.
just put Gritty in the corner. He's used to it.
Yeah.
He's got his chaos corner.
Yeah. We got the gritty corner in here. All right. So, again, thank you to everybody. We'll see you next week. Share with your friends if there's anyone who you know that loves hockey like we do. Just send this to them, and we're incredibly grateful. So thanks. We'll see you next Wednesday. We're signing off. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Whoa. Wait, are you still there?